today we're going out to Lodi. I place implants there about 2 times a month. So we're just driving through some vineyards, getting ready for the day. This is the office where I work at. About to go see some patients. Our first case for the day, we're going to be taking impressions on an implant. So it's number 8 implant right here. I'm going to take off this healing abutment and take an impression. Had a Maryland bridge on it, which kind of broke off, but we'll cement that back after. So the impression coping. This is the healing abutment for it. I'm going to switch it out. Interactive 3.0, so it's a really small platform. I'm going to be using this bad boy today. Awesome. So right now there's a little bit of pressure on the implant, so when I'm turning the healing abutment, it kind of feels like it pinches a bit, or like it hurts at the implant site. So usually that's from the healing abutment, just putting pressure on something. Very rarely that's actually like non-integration at the implant, so just putting some anesthetic and we'll find out. So this little guy failed. Probably like every 1 out of 100 implants fails or so, or doesn't integrate. I had one of those this morning, not super proud of it, but they do happen. The patient asked me like why I think it happened. It could have been for a lot of different reasons. Generally they're related to wound healing or like non-compliance during time of healing. And I remember just kind of guessing at it. There's no way to really know, but he did have a very bad infection post-implant placement, not on his implant site, but actually on his arm. And then he had another infection on his leg, and totally unrelated to implants, but I don't know, could have had something to do with it. So anyway, got to make it right by him because he's already sank time and money into this. So what I'm going to do is get him a bridge at no charge. I offered that I could do it, but honestly, my dad does more bridges than me, so I'm going to call his office and see if we can get him in. First up, impressions. Go ahead and bite down. Looks like he's got enough space this way. Do you got your temporary on you? Just gonna try that in. Right. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so the temporary looks good, but right here you can see there's like a shadow right here because it's like kind of the bone dips in. Although it feels fairly thick to me, I think I'd want to get an x-ray of that. We're looking at this side over here. First thing I'm going to look at here, if there's enough space between the ridge and the teeth. Yeah, it looks like enough space there. At least 8 or 10 millimeters, which is enough. Now I'm going to look at the thickness of the ridge here. It's a pretty thick ridge, so we need at least 7 millimeters of bone width, right? So that's at least 7 millimeters for sure, so that's going to be perfect for premolars. That's really good. All right, great. Last thing we're looking at here is just bone height. So it looks like we got enough bone height there, at least 10 millimeters for sure. So first thing I'm going to look at here is just the width of it. So we want to see how wide this is from here to here. Kind of hard to tell this way. So when it's kind of like borderline, I like to get an extra x-ray. So we might have to have you do this 3D x-ray. Okay, go ahead and bite down. And go ahead and turn that way. So the other thing I like to look at here is how much space we have. So vertical space. So it looks like you have just enough space for a tooth there. Go ahead and turn this way. Oh, too much. Okay, open. And the last thing, we need to check if you have enough space here in between these 2 teeth for a molar. So yep, that looks good. Okay, so basically we saw all those other things in the mouth, and now we're just gonna look right here. If we have enough vertical space before the nerve, then yeah, we definitely do. The nerve is down here. We got a bunch of space up here. So for this patient, it was a little bit limited buccolingually, and I'd rather not guess when it comes to that, so we're referring her out for a cone beam. So I'm going to go ahead and walk you guys through this surgery here. The first thing I'm doing, I'm just reflecting a flap, basically incision from contact to contact, and just raising a small flap really. Back in the posterior area, you don't have to be that worried about doing papilla sparing or anything like that. Because it's not aesthetic. But back here, what I'm using right now is a round burr just to flatten things out because it was sort of irregular, and I want to make sure that I have a flat surface to do my prep on. Moving on to this little pilot drill here, and I have my assistant irrigating for me. I'm just basically taking all the drills to depth. You do want to make sure that you confirm it with an X-ray though. So I'm going to put this parallel pin in. And if that looks like I'm on the right track, then you keep going, but otherwise wait and re-prep with the pilot drills. So now I'm just going to finish this guy up with the bigger implant drills, and that's it. So I'm using an Implant Club implant for this guy right here. Super excited to release our implants. Man, it's making me nervous just watching it on the screen. All right, so we're putting it, you put it in with your fingers, right? It's got this little thumb grip, and you just kind of use that to go all the way down as much as you can. I didn't take it all the way down because it kind of maxes out. Once it's like 3/4 of the way in, I pop that guy off. That's just a little transfer. And take it the rest of the way with my little hand driver. Using a little cover screw on this one, I'm going to cover this one up under the gums. And I'm going to suture. I basically suture this pretty quick with some interrupteds. When David Wong was here, man, he takes his time suturing this, making sure to put as many sutures as he needs to. I guess that's the difference between going from good to great. That guy's a beast, and he gets really great outcomes. So when you're grafting and stuff like that, definitely pay more attention to suturing. So that was it. That was my day. Started out kind of weird with that unexpected failure, but you know, it happens. It doesn't happen often, but when it does, it's good to manage those really well. Treat the person fairly. Obviously, you go like above and beyond to make them feel cared for, and then you don't have anything to worry about really. So that was it. It's kind of a routine day for me. Now I'm going to go and sit at Starbucks and check out the content that we got.